In 1970, the global chocolate industry looked quite different from today, though several familiar names were already well established. Nestle, the Swiss food giant, and Hershey, the dominant American chocolate maker, were both already decades into building what would become some of the most recognized food brands on the planet. Mars, the maker of M&Ms, Snickers, and Milky Way, was a large and growing American confectioner, though it had not yet ascended to the very top of the global rankings. Cadbury, meanwhile, had spent well over a century building one of Britain's most beloved chocolate brands, a genuine national institution in the United Kingdom and across the Commonwealth. Ferrero, by contrast, was still a relatively modest Italian family business at this point, having only recently introduced a hazelnut and chocolate spread called Nutella that nobody yet realized would eventually become a global phenomenon in its own right. Over the following decades, these companies grew along very different paths. Mars steadily expanded its confectionery empire, eventually overtaking every single rival to become the largest chocolate company in the world by revenue, a position it continues to hold today with a brand value estimated around $45 billion. Cadbury's story took a more dramatic turn. After building an enormous global following, the company was acquired by American food giant Kraft Foods in a hard-fought takeover in 2010. And just 2 years later, Kraft spun off its snacks and confectionery business into an entirely new publicly traded company called Mondelez International, which continues to own Cadbury, along with Milka and Toblerone, to this day. But the most remarkable transformation belonged to Ferrero. What began as a small Italian family operation grew, decade after decade, into a genuine global powerhouse, with Nutella becoming one of the most recognized food products anywhere on Earth, alongside massively popular brands like Ferrero Rocher, Kinder, and Tic Tac. By the mid-2020s, Ferrero had overtaken Nestle, Hershey, and Lindt entirely, growing into the third-largest chocolate company in the world. A genuinely stunning rise for a company that had once been a fraction of the size of its longtime European and American rivals. Barry Callebaut, formed in 1996 through the merger of Belgian chocolatier Callebaut and French company Cacao Barry, took an entirely different path, building itself into the world's largest industrial chocolate supplier, making chocolate for many of the very brands on this list, rather than selling chocolate bars directly to consumers under its own name. Lindt and Sprungly, meanwhile, carved out a smaller but fiercely loyal niche as the world's leading premium chocolate maker, proving that a company doesn't always need to be the biggest to be one of the most respected names in the entire industry. From family-run operations in small Italian and Swiss towns to publicly traded multinational giants, the story of the world's biggest chocolate companies over the past half-century is really a story of how a genuinely universal indulgence became one of the most competitive and lucrative categories in all of global food and drink.